in the last Dragon Yawn, I talked about pose fighting style. So I want to
bear style.
The bear style.
And eagle.
So the new fighting style that we have in this film that I want to talk about is that of the peacock of Lord Shen. Okay, his fighting style was actually patterned after a Chinese style. It's a Chinese mixed martial art that incorporates 3 different styles called Choy Li Fut. Okay, I could be me mispronouncing that, the Choy and the Foot part. I got the Li.
Comment section, let us know.
Yeah. This is just, let us know
Be
how to
nice,
pronounce.
please.
Let us know how to pronounce stuff in the written word.
Yeah, there you
right?
go.
You know, use the written word. It lets us know how to pronounce that. But it was founded in 1836 by a guy named Chan Hung. Chan Hang. And so he, like I said, it's a mixed martial art. It incorporates Choi Gar, Li Gar, and Foot Gar. And Gar in Cantonese just means family, whereas Choy, Li, and Foot is the name of the family. So you would have like the Li family, or the Foot family, or the Choy family. In his case, it would be the Robert family. Yeah. So you
like imagine like today if you went to like a boxing gym. It was Willis Boxing. That's what it is.
pretty much.
It's the name of the family that created the style.
Yeah. And so that style has about, 150 forms. It's huge. It's all encompassing, and it has both northern and southern. I think it was really funny that I said southern and went high and northern and low, but whatever, right? So, but the southern style is very quick movements, the short feet, right? And the northern style is going to have the wider stances and the more circular movements on a lot of...
We're overgeneralizing, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It specifically designed, though, it was really useful for multiple combatants. Right? And one of the, like I said, Shen, his fighting style came from that, specifically the fan. There's a number of different fan forms. They got about 40 or 53 different weapons in Choy Li Fut, depending on which school you go to. And there's actually a lot of schools. It's very popular, but they use a fan. And so a lot of people think the fan weapon is more for cutting, right? But that's not true. In fact, the steel fan is almost kind of a myth, really. Nobody uses that. They use just a regular wooden fan, a normal fan, and there's a lot of pokes, right? And they emphasize pressure point hitting. And so it's very cool, and they use that along with some of the bladed forms and a couple of staff forms. Now, that style has, like I said, 150 forms, so they have a lot of different movements for a staff, because sometimes a staff can also be a spear, depending on whether or not the end of it is sharp, and vice versa. So you have a lot of similar movements. And he had an interesting staff in that had a very long blade to it. And
almost kind of like a naginata, Japanese kind of.
Yeah. And so that was the weapons or the style that he had. What I find very interesting is that in all my research and reading descriptions of it, I was like, this sounds a whole lot like the martial art that I do. And so I don't know who came first, or if somebody on the internet was copying and pasting, you know, but like
what?
Yeah,
something on the internet might need verification.
But it definitely reinforced my theory that the human body can only move in so many different ways. So if you have the same objectives, you're going to have some of the same movements, right? And just a different terminology for it and a different way of going about it. And so that's what they had here. This is more of a Chinese style of just these martial arts that do the exact same thing as the one hop kendo type stuff we do in the kaji kempo, and fighting multiple opponents and using the northern and southern. See, I did it right this time. Okay. And, so they had that aspect in it. So that's the fighting style that he used. Did you do any? Do you know anything about Choy Li Fut?
Choy Li Fut, no, mostly just from the lineage of the individual schools, the Choy, the Li, and the Fut, just that how they evolved separately, but they were always kind of connected. It was like the 3 major schools in this one province in China for multiple generations.
Yeah.
And then because it was like the Shan Huang. Anyway, he
I-
learned
Can't pronounce his name.
one style from his father and one style from his uncle, and then one style from like his uncle's best friend or
yeah.
something. And so it's the three styles were always kind of related. I think it may have been very comparable to something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Nihon Jiu-Jitsu, and wrestling, in that they get along.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, the human body can only move in so many different ways. So a lot of these techniques that you would see with one weapon translate very well to another weapon, or just no weapon at all. I mean, your fists, your hands can be a weapon. And so in Chinese Kung Fu, right, you can definitely use a lot of stuff as a weapon, okay? In one scene, Poe tried to use a hat, which could have been really effective if he wasn't like a mile away.
Oh man,
That was such a funny scene.
I didn't understand like why he wanted the hat, and then like, oh, that's what he's gonna do with the hat. Oh, that didn't work at all.
Not one bit.
Man.
Well, they laid the foundation though, as far as like him coming up with plans that don't actually work, like him trying to cook rice in his stomach by drinking boiling water.
I tried that with mac and cheese once.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That didn't work.
No, it didn't.
It doesn't ever work. It's
No.
such a bad idea. And so
Tell me that now.
yeah. But like I said, very good film.
Mm-hmm.
And a big